So welcome back to the Big Book of Orks, and today we're going to cover the burner boys, the tankbustas and commandos. Now basically these are essentially boys with X. So your burner boys are your boys with flamers, your tankbustas are your boys with rocket launchers, and your commandos are your boys that sneak. Now they all do different slightly things, but essentially they've all got the same stat line because they are essentially boys. So we'll be reading out just the one stat line for the burner boys, but other than that, the stat line for all these three units is exactly the same. So, burner boys. Movement 5, weapon skill 3+, ballistic skill 5+, 4 strength, 4 toughness, 1 wound, 2 attacks, 6 leaderships and a 6+ save. Say, not bad, still good. Let's go over quickly burner boys, because this unit is going to be, has literally gone from being the meh unit to being okay, these are super good. It's a flamer. This is a unit entirely built with flamers, and incredibly cheap flamers. Burners cost 0 points if you're going to use the old point system. Not only that, if you want to increase your model count, it's 14 points a boy. That is incredibly cheap. And if you're going to go with the power levels, which by the way, I like playing with power levels. I've played a couple of games now with the old point system. I've played a couple of games with the new power level system. I'm liking playing with the power level system to build my armies more than I am with the old point system. But that's a discussion for another time, I think. But so what does the burner do? Now remember, it's a flamer, so it's 8-inch range. It's a D3 assault weapon, so it's not D6 compared to all the other flamers, but bear in mind, you are probably going to have between 10 to 15 burner boys. Probably 12 if you put them in a truck. Now why do you want them in a truck? Well, trucks travel about 20 inches maximum. That's the furthest they can go. If you include the burner range of about 8, that gives them essentially an attack range of about 28 inches. That's quite a distance. That is at least to the other side of the table. That is a lot of potential striking ability. Now, the strength is, again, it's a flamer, 4 strength, no AP, 1 damage. Just like looters, it's a D3. So literally, before you shoot, you roll a D3, that's how many attacks each boy makes. That's still a lot of attacks. And for flamers, now remember, these flamers auto-hit. So you're bypassing the orc's essentially weakest point. The ballistic skill, you don't have to roll for it. You just have to roll to wound, essentially, because the auto hits. Awesome. So what happens then when you get these in melee? Because burners can be used in close combat as well. So the strength 4, because the strength user, -2 AP, which is actually pretty good, and 1 attack. So the advantage again here is the -2. Again, as I've been playing this, I've been finding out more and more having that -2 AP, super good. Particularly against units that have a strong armor save, against, you know, large groups, you know, chaff. I came up against some poxwalkers. The burner boys literally wiped them out in one shooting turn. It was unbelievable. Yeah, the poxwalkers, but they were, it was just like, woof, gone. I've only ever 2 or 3 times in my life wiped out something in one turn by shooting. So that was quite an achievement for orcs. So they can also take a spanner, and basically a spanner is essentially a mech who can repair. You can take a kill saw. You can take the slugger, chopper if you want to. as well. And if you want, you can give the spanner a kill saw, which is essentially a power claw, ×2 strength, -4 AP, 2 damage. Subtract 1 from your hit roll. It's not bad. But if you're going to do the burner wagon, as it's called, maybe having a spanner in there so you can repair your truck, because trucks are still, they're a lot better than they used to be, but they'll still get wounds stripped from them pretty quickly. But more about the truck later on. So their ability for the burner boys is they've got Pyromaniac. So if the unit destroys an enemy unit in the shooting phase, you automatically pass morale tests until the start of your next turn. That's not bad. So that's your burner boys. Basically, I think a lot of people are underestimating him still. Use that while you can, because the idea that the burner boys are this really weak unit is going to change quite quickly when people start to realise and start actually using them in their armies. So my advocation for you is, if you have a unit of burner boys that you haven't used before, go out, use them, use the old burner wagon tactic. Put some flame in your enemy's rear. You'll wipe out their infantry really well. And again, you're bypassing the orcs' weakest skill, because remember, flamers are auto hit. Awesome. So then we come on to tankbustas. So tankbustas, again, they're boys with rocket launchers. Now you also get, in here, you get a boss knob. So he is movement 5, weapon skill 3, ballistic skill +5, strength 5, toughness 4, 2 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 7, and a 6+ save. So if you wanted to give them extra leadership, you give them a boss knob. Now, the good thing about the boss knob is you can take a pair of rocket pistols. So, what do rocket pistols do? Because these are one of the new things. So, 12 range, and they're a pistol. They're pistol 2, so 2 shots apiece. So these can be fired in close combat, quite close range. However, strength 7, -2, D3 damage. That's not bad. Now, you only get yeah, you can only take, where is it now? I think you can only take one. Actually, it doesn't say. This unit contains 5 tankbustas, can up to 5 additional tankbustas, or 10 additional tankbustas. For every 5 tankbustas or more bombs, it may be accompanied by 2 bomb squigs. Yeah, you can basically take one boss knob by the looks of it, although it actually doesn't say. So yeah, if you wanted to, you could potentially make them all boss knobs if you wanted to. It doesn't actually say how many you can have, but you've just got to replace one tankbuster. So again, not bad. So these are your anti-vehicle unit. Now you may be thinking, hold on, rocket launchers, 24-inch range, assault 1, 8 strength, -2 AP, and 3 damage. Completely different, I like to add, because GW have thrown us an absolute bone. Because basically every other rocket launcher in the game is D3 damage. We are straight up 3 damage. That is awesome. I'd like to thank GW for actually doing that. So tankbusters are awesome. Take them in units of at least 5 or more. So you want to probably about a good 10, a unit of 10 for tankbusters, because otherwise, as is usual for orcs, it's all about volume of fire, not quality. So the more dice you're rolling, the more likely you are to hit. And when you've got, a unit of 10, you're going to be landing at least a decent number of hits and doing a very large, decent number of damage. Because remember, we've talked about before and past a number of these videos about the difference between Strength 7 and Strength 8 weapons. Strength 8 is awesome with a -2 AP and D3 damage guaranteed. You are doing a lot of damage. You know, think, you know, 1 hit's 3 damage, 2 hits 6, 3 hits is 9 damage. That is, in 3 hits, a lot of light vehicles you are almost destroying. 4 hits, you are almost destroying a lot of light vehicles, and because you are taking 10 or more, you are guaranteed to do that, which is awesome. And they also get an awesome ability, Tank Hunters. It's the ability we've been called before, however, this time you can re-roll failed hit rolls for attacks made by this unit when they target vehicles. Awesome. So these, as they say, they do what they tell on the tin, they are Tank Hunters, essentially. They also carry a bomb squig. So range 18, assault 1, strength 8, -2 AP, D6 damage, which again is not bad if you want to do sort of a lot of damage. Think of them as a living laser, you know, laser rifle, a las gun, essentially. And essentially for every 5 tank busters, you can take 2. So if you're taking 10, you can have up to 4 of these guys. They're not bad, pretty good. The next one is the weird one, because last edition, tank hammers, so they're basically, everything is dash, because you basically make a single hit roll when attacking with this weapon. So that's basically using weapon skill, so using 3. So you're pretty much guaranteed to hit. Now, however, you're doing D3 mortal wounds. So whatever you're hitting with these, and you don't have to use them on vehicles, you can use them on infantry as well, you're basically doing D3 mortal wounds to that unit, which again is not bad. Remember, if you're already doing a guaranteed 3 hits, 3 damage per rocket, you're doing a lot of damage. And if you're moving up the field at the same time, if you're up against something like with a Land Raider and you want to finally finish the job, 2 tank hammers doing D3 mortal wounds can potentially finish that job for you, or potentially take out that pesky dreadnought. It makes them a lot more deadly in close combat. Again, combine those with the rocket pistols that can fire in close combat, and now that vehicles can now participate in close combat, you've got a very deadly vehicle tank hunting unit, which they are a massive, massive improvement on from last edition. And if you want to put these in a battle wagon and have, the maximum 15 of these guys running around in a battle wagon, shooting out, 3 guaranteed hits, oh yeah, it's awesome. And a battle wagon will protect them. You can use them in a truck if you want to put them in a truck, but bear in mind that truck will get targeted when your opponent realises what's in that truck. Just like the burner boys, tank busters did get some use last edition by some people, but I think you'll be seeing more potentially tank busters as now vehicles are once, well, they were usable last edition, but now, with the changes that they've gone through, more people are going to be using vehicles more than that. So, moving on. Oh yes, they also get the tank buster bomb, which is a 6-inch grenade, D3 damage, D3 hits. Oh no, it's D3 grenade, Strength 8, -2 AP and 6d6 damage. Again, that's pretty good. You can see the absolute vehicle killing potential. I've already consulted someone online on the 40k forums. He was taking a unit of taking 2 units of 11 boys and giving them 2 rocket launchers as his anti-vehicle. And I'm just like, no, no, you're doing it wrong. Use tankbustas, or there are other units you can use. So, next, commandos. And oh boy, how are commandos good in this edition as well. So, they've got 6-inch movement compared to 5 over the rest of their boys, but other than that, they are exactly the same. So for every 5 commandos, oh no, no, that's last edition I'm thinking. Yeah, for every up to 2 commandos can basically in the unit can replace their weapons, can replace their slugger with a big shooter, burner, or rocket launcher. Now, you're basically getting 2 rocket launchers. Again, I wouldn't advise it because, as we've said before, orc shooting is all about quantity rather than quality. However, commandos have access to burners. 2 burners auto hit, bypassing ballistic skill for orcs. They're going to be pretty good, pretty nice in close combat. They're not bad. So this is, again, it's your basically sneaky unit, and the whole reason why you use them are basically for these 2 rules. So sneaky gits, when they are in cover, they add +2 instead of 1 to their saving throws for that model in the unit. Not bad. And then this is the new one. This is the new rule they get. Cunning infiltrators. So during deployment, you may set up a unit of commandos in hiding instead of placing them on the battlefield. At the end of any of your movement phase, they can stalk from their hiding place, set them up anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches away from enemy models. So essentially, deep strike. Which, compared to last edition, they had infiltrate, which meant they were coming on from reserve from a side of the field. These guys are now deep striking. So in terms of back table pressure, you can put on a unit of 15 commandos popping up. All of a sudden, that's an issue your enemy's got to turn around and deal with. You can pop them on an objective if you really want to claim objective. If you're just going to use a unit of 5 to make sure your enemy doesn't get it. Although that'd be, to be honest, a waste. I think you've got to be using your commandos, I'd say, in a large unit, which is almost what you're getting into when you get orcs. I use a unit of 15 commandos. Have used them last edition. I used this edition. I've so far played every single game I've had with my commandos. They've been awesome. They are, you infiltrate them. They're within 9 inches. They're within charge range. You can get into close combat very easily with them using that rule. They are awesome. And again, give them boss Snickrot. We've already covered him. He's basically almost a force multiplier with your commandos, again, doing that. So that's essentially the commandos. They've essentially been given deep strike. So that's your boys with blank done, but with armor in the book. Oh yeah, you also get a boss knob, and you can give your boss knob a power claw. So bubble wrap your power claw in with your commandos and be able to deep strike him in. Suddenly, that unit of commandos is even more deadly with 2 burners. You get charged. Your burners are on Overwatch. They will do some damage. So that's those 3 units covered. Next time we'll be covering the knobs. So your normal knobs, your biker knobs, your knob with the warp hole, and your mega knobs.